Hi, my name is Mimi Bitzan. About a year ago, in September of 2014, my mother-in-law, Patricia Bitzan, passed away. About 3 weeks before she died, I got a phone call from her. She had been discharged from the hospital and was staying in a short-term stay facility to try and get enough strength to go back home. And she called me and she said, Mimi, I have to apologize to you. And I said, but for what? And she said, well, I volunteered you to do a favor, but I forgot to ask you first. And I thought, oh boy. So I said, well, what's the favor, Pat? And she said, well, she had gotten to know this beautiful couple at the short-term stay place where she was at. And she said that the woman was a parishioner from our parish, and that her husband was a man who had just the most fascinating story. He had been a young boy in World War II in Germany. And she just said that his story was so unique about his experiences in the war as a child and about how he eventually came to this country. And she said that in talking with him, he just expressed this desire that not only his children, but especially his grandchildren would get to know his story. And she just said, I said to him, Mimi, you can help him with that. I'm a freelance writer and I have written people's stories, but I said, Pat, I would love to do this. And I thought about it, and one of the first things I did was call my friend Jim McAllister. Jim is a videographer, and we've worked together on projects before, and I don't know, we just dance really well together. And so I asked Jim if he would help me with this story, because it's one thing to see written words on a page, and it's another to see somebody tell their own story. So my mother passed away 3 weeks after that. And very shortly after that, I thought, well, I promised her I would do this favor. And so I got in touch with Al and his wife, Barb, and I asked if I could help them tell their story. And so Jim and I went to see them. We sat down in a living room type setting, and I just asked questions, and Al talked. And it was in his own words about what it was like to live in a train station, to be displaced during the war, to not know where family was after the war, and eventually about how not only he, but all of his family came to this country. He called it the land of milk and honey. It was really a moving story. I went back and edited the story from a writing perspective, and then we refilmed one more time, and this time Al just told it the whole way through, and it was the complete package. So Jim worked on editing it just a little bit, and I remember it was December 17th that I was able to go to their home with 12 written copies of the story and 12 DVDs of Al telling his story. The really cool part is that it wasn't only Al's story, but in the end, Jim asked how Al had met his wife, Barb. So it was also their love story, which was just beautiful. I gave it to them. They were in their home putting up their Christmas tree. And, well, Al was a small man, but he on oxygen, but he literally started dancing in his living room. He was so excited. And he said, this will be the best gift of Christmas. So I gave thanks to my mother-in-law for letting me be part of that, great little project. And I just really never gave it another thought. About 6 weeks later, quite unexpectedly, Al Binder died. And I just knew I had to go to the funeral. And I actually helped at the funeral lunch. And as I was clearing tables, Al's son came up to me and he said, I understand that you were the one who helped get my father's story told. And I said, well, it was really my mother-in-law, but with the help of Jim McAllister, yeah, we did. We got that story. And he said, it's the most precious gift I have. I will not only be able to read about my father's story, I can hear it in his own words. I can see the love that he has for Barbara. And he just said, I just thank you for the greatest gift. Good morning. I am Mimi Bitzan, and I'm delighted to talk to you, Al Binder. Tell me a little bit about when you were born, where you were born, and your family.
Well, I was born in Yugoslavia, Bielina, Bosnia. My family existed of 4 siblings and my parents. Well, it was dirty. It was smoky. And the night we traveled and we saw airplanes coming and their cannons were blasting at them, but none of them got hit. And the train would stop. They find out why did the train stop. Well, the tracks were bombed, so you had to back up, take a different route. And that was then this one was and it took us a long time to get to the next city. And every time the train stopped, the young mothers with infants, they were screaming, "Nurse, nurse, please help, help! My baby is sick." And the babies were sick and was no food, no clothing to keep them warm, so they would freeze to death or they got sick and they die. What are they going to do? They threw them overboard and just kept on going to save their own life. The baby is dead, there's no help.
And your sister had a really difficult
And
time on the train.
Yes, my sister was, and she had a frostbite on her right foot. 2 of the toes on the right side, they were frostbitten.
And this was Maria?
It was Maria. And she says, "Oh, mommy, my foot hurts, my foot hurts." And she says, "Let me see where." And then she took her shoe off, and there it was all black, the toes. And at that time, the train was slowing down and stopping. And the lady was next to us. We didn't know her. She left, and she forgot something in the package. And my sister Maria says, "Mommy, look, the lady forgot something over here." And my mother grabbed it, and he says, "Hey, ma'am, you forgot something." And she did not turn around. She just kept on going, got off the train, and disappeared.
What did she left behind?
Then my mother, they looked at what was behind in the package. She had some nice warm shoes and a muff, a fur muff. So my mother says, "Maria, put those shoes on. That's going to help you so you can walk or keep your feet warm." And she says, "But they're so big, He says, don't worry about the size. Just put them on. They're going to keep your feet warm." And the muff we shared. We stuck our hands in the kids and kept warm that way. This is me. That's my dad. This is my mother, and that's my younger brother. And that's the ship that we came on. That's a General Langford. And those are some pictures of Germany here, see, and back there is Bremerhaven. We left Bremerhaven. And this is my uncle. That he was the one that almost got killed if he would have went out there. He was only 15 at that time. His name is Adam.
And you told me that it was a land of opportunity and a land of freedom.
Yes, it was freedom, all right. Could do and buy anything you want if you save the money and eat what you want and when you want it. So that was a land of opportunity. I worked volunteering at the hospital to spend some time. My daughter-in-law said, "Dad, you can do some good. Instead of sitting around, sitting watching TV, you can volunteer at the hospital and help people and this." I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." So I helped people, but then later on I helped myself too.
And how's that?
I found myself a wife. His name Bart, they're sitting right next to me here. I said, "How would you want to get married?" "Oh," I says, "I don't know." The next time I asked her, I said, "Would you marry me?" I says, "Take all your time you need, but don't let me wait too long."
And then she must have said yes.
And then a week later, or 2 weeks later, we were going out, took her out, we going out to eat, and she sits in there and she says, "Yes, yes, 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 yes." I said, "Yes, yes, what?" She says, "I'll marry you." I said, all right. Well, in the meantime, Meantime, my son has his own family. He's got 2 grandchildren for me, and they're twins.
How very thoughtful of him.
And they're not.
How old are the twins, Al?
They're 11, you know, and they love me very much.
You know, it might be just kind of fun to tell your children and grandchildren how we came to know each other and to tell this story. So it was from my husband's mother, who was at St. Benedict's short-term stay. So Pat connected with Barb at St. Benedict's short-term stay.
Oh, she was a beautiful person.
And you got talking at lunch about how you wanted your children and grandchildren to know this story.
Yeah,
And that's how we came to be
Yes.
together.
yeah. That was your mother-in-law. Yeah,
So,
And
yeah.
Pat was always so enthused about the story that she was asked if we could have it.
Right away, when she heard that I speak a different language, and I said, "Where from Germany?" She says, "Boy, I'd like to hear more about you," and that's how it started. You know, the author we would have never gotten it. You know, thanks to her.
that was my assignment. She
Ah,
gave
see?
it to me.
Yeah,
So.
No, I want to thank you
Thank you.
and your
Jim
friend here.
McAllister, yes.
Yeah. Oh, those are my twins. Yeah.
Your son's children,
And what are their names, Al?
yeah. Their
What are their
names.
names?
Christina and Dolan.
And here,
Yeah, they were tiny.